So I've come to the astute observation that anytime I'm too deep in contemplation is when I won't prioritize my preservation of self. And when I don't prioritize my preservation of self, I have no confidence to display that self unto the world. And aspect of ego aside, I was put here to display myself unto the world because I speak. I have things to say, I have things to get off my chest that I know that people need to hear, because every time I do them, resonance is exclaimed and people present the fact that it helps them. But how much can I help someone if I am not helping myself? Caught in looking at life through the lens of my own ego is what would lead me to not prioritize that preservation. Knowing deep down that at any moment I can decide to channel directly from higher sources, yet too caught up in thinking about who I think I am for the internet, for myself in retrospect, getting high, letting the personalities split, and letting the one that doesn't like me take over way quicker than the one that does and wants these things for himself. So, what must be done in order to change and be more consistent in caring for myself? Because in reality, the more I upload, the more that I actually care about for it, the more I care about myself, because self is exemplified in every person of which you contribute to in a positive manner, because your body's going to die. So the only true fulfillment comes from those services outside of self. But when I get caught too much in self, from a limited form and perspective in regards to, who I think I am, I won't step outside of myself and go give a helping hand. And I'm selfishly attempting to satisfy needs, desires, cravings, or taming them through alternate mediums like weed, distractions, movies. Because I'm afraid to present who I truly, authentically am. And there's so many multitudes of possibilities for the reason that that could be. But the main one is one that I touched upon in the last video that I made, which was fear of responsibility, running from your purpose, actually taking on what is necessary to be able to speak with the proper conviction, to be able to do things with the proper confidence necessary to attain the desired goal. That's currently what I'm struggling with. And there's a dude who I just found on YouTube named Talk with Dev. Shout out at Talk with Dev 1104. Recently watching his videos, I realized you need to get back into your inner child if you want to do anything that is creative, because what is creative essence and vitality is life. And who else displays that more than children, especially you when you were young? It's not even necessarily thinking back to the things that you wanted to do or the person you wanted to be, but it's allowing yourself to let go of who you think you are so that you can literally just play with the craft in the moment. Floyd Mayweather, arguably greatest boxer of all time, do you think that how can I put it? Of course he's taking himself seriously, but he's playing in that ring. He's smiling at his opponent. The opponent is more scared because he displays the confidence with true ability. When you're able to play with something, you are showing that you are not attached to the fruit of the action. And being attached to the fruit of the action is flawed in a temporary existence. There is no point in it. It's vanity. And it leaves you constantly in attempted attainment when there is nothing to attain because you were given everything that you already needed. But to cultivate that inner child who cares less about the vain aspects of life, because he is merely a representation of life itself. His mind hasn't been diluted with all the subconscious programming that makes him believe that the things in life that wither and die are the things that should be prioritized. Creativity is shunned by society, therefore being shunned by our own selves because we are programmed by society that we live in. You cannot accept this to be your fate. And for a lot of us, that's become so obvious that we are not meant to follow what society wanted us to be, that was not going to amount to any greater quality of life than what we had seen in front of us for the majority of our lives. But the question then becomes, if we are aware of this, if we are aware of the fact of what we don't want to become, why is it still so difficult to stray away from those actions that propel us to lower vibrations? Why is it still so hard to stay consistent in the things that we know are better for us? And this is when the conversation starts to get deeper into subconscious programmings and the fact that it literally is not your fault that your automatic driven impulses wish to distract yourself, wish to mask your pain, because it's probably what your bloodline has been doing since before any of us have the capacity to currently remember. It is not, I'm not going to sit here and say it's not an easy battle, because if I were to put that limitation on you, you're going to sit here and think that it's hard for the rest of your life. It's not placing a title on it at all is the way to go, really. It is the journey. It merely is life. Life is seasonal. Look around you. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold. Sometimes we're passive, sometimes we're so fucking active that we're not even thinking, that we're constantly in that state of flow, doing, and then something in life might propel us down a little lower vibration. We might need to take a step back, observe ourselves. We might get caught in our ego. There might be certain parts of our neurophysiology that are still stuck in the past, because trauma allows someone to live through the past and the present moment, because whatever part of you that was hurt and traumatized is still stuck quantumly in that past experience. It's a fragmentation of mind. Kind of like when you put a straw in the water and it starts to fragment, that's where your trauma is. You're living currently in the present moment, yet trauma can take you, yet when trauma is triggered, it can take you right back into the past. Therefore, you are no longer where you think you are. And your nervous system starts to go absolutely insane, fight or flight mode, right back to that trauma, because that's what trauma does. It induces our fight or flight. You literally can't control the fact that this is constantly happening within your body because of what you have been through. Genuinely. It'll never cease to surprise you. Every day something new could occur that can bring you right back to a moment in the past that was one of the most painful things you ever been through. It's completely unexpected. Because for generations we have been suppressing instead of confronting our trauma. And when you start doing those actions that propel you towards the higher places, that trauma is going to start manifesting. Those things that you don't like about yourself, those thoughts of self-hatred, those lower vibrational entities, for lack of a better term, that are latched to your physical body through that trauma, through that pain, they're going to start becoming clearer to you. You're going to be able to start identifying them for what they are, scoping them out so you can shoot them down dead, instead of keeping them in such a chaotic state to where they have power over you. Because identifying these things that are holding us back for what they are is what allows us to grip and gain power over them. Separating it from ourselves. Even though everything is mind and everything is one, we have to separate these things that take us down to lower places from ourselves because of how attached we are to them unknowingly and unconsciously. And we have to be able to put it outside of us so that we can let go of energy that flows through our vessel just as quickly as it comes. Because you can't play with any craft or be at a consistent heightened state of creativity if you're too busy holding on to shit. When you hold on to shit too long, it's going to ferment within you. Firstly, in a temporary existence, nothing lasts forever. So why are you going to cultivate and hold on to something temporary, acting like it's forever? It will lose its meaning. It will lose its value. You will get bored. And then you're going to wonder why you're bored and not have an answer, because the answer is rooted in all the pain. So you're just going to distract yourself and get numb. Once again, restarting the cycle. And sometimes these cycles are necessary to go through in these seasons of life. Sometimes there's times in life where we're holding on to something specific, completely unaware of the fact that we're holding on so tightly to it. And then we'll have a moment that snaps us back into awareness that lets us know we need to hold on a little looser. Sometimes we're holding on way too loosely and understand that we need to gain a little bit of a tighter grip on this current thing, or else it's going to go ape shit, and we're not going to be able to have our desires attained in this material existence. So, look at yourself from a lens of compassion, understanding, but most importantly, grace, forgiveness, gratitude in the fact that even those experiences that propel you towards lower vibrations that you might have been stuck in for longer than you can remember literally make you who you are. It's still all energy, starting at a baseline level that can be transmuted into something greater than you could have ever imagined. But think about how much of it you have stored. The longer you are distracting yourself, the longer you're running from your purpose, so to speak, you are just continuously storing up potential energy inside of you that's manifesting a shadow ready to claw itself out like a rat in a cage. It's ready to display itself to the world. And you will continuously suppress it if you're trying to cultivate a specific identity through the lens of the ego. You have to be once like a child again, or else thou shalt not enter the kingdom of heaven. And in the flow state, that heaven state, you have the ability to freely and openly create. But your creativity is hindered when you're limited by flawed conceptual models of reality, by limited perspectives. Think quantumly. Because if you're not looking at life from a lens of potential, your potential will always be limited. Food for thought.